2, 1. It's your man DJ Seiko Varner. I'm in the mix with my man Dan Trez Omi. Peace, Aki. How you doing?
Aki, peace, man. I'm doing good. Lovely, man. Doing lovely.
That's what's up. Starr Armstrong, otherwise known as Clev, or Clever Speaks, is going to join. Hopefully she'll be joining us soon. And tonight, man, I got a chance to see Black Panther twice.
Okay.
And did you see it yet?
I've seen it 3 times.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it 3 times. I did the podcast after I saw it. I just talked about Kilmonger. I didn't do any spoilers. But then our recent episode, me and my oldest, B-Boy Sabi, we went ahead and did a spoiler-filled review. Part 1 is up. We're going to put a part 2 out tomorrow.
Okay. Cool. I did get a chance to see what you and your son did, and you guys did some really interesting stuff, man. Really
thank you.
Interesting stuff. I was trying to pull it up because I know it's on SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's also it'll come up on iTunes too. So, but yep.
So tell me what prompted you and your son to do your spoiler dealing with Kilmonger?
Well, we did one on Kilmonger. I personally did one on Kilmonger first because I didn't want to do one that was filled with spoilers because I watched it the Saturday it came out, and I know that was a President's Day weekend, so I wanted everybody to go to get a chance to see it. So I did that, and because me and Xavier, we always do one on the big Marvel movies.
Okay.
I mean, B-Boy Sabi, we do one. So last one we did one was on Thor Ragnarok, so we wanted to do one on Black Panther, and that was kind of like in our plans. So we always do one together, and that's because he's 23, I'm 44. Most of our discussions have been about geek stuff. We both read comics, we both watch anime. I don't watch it as much as he does. We both read Star Wars books, so me and all my kids are real big time geeks. So I think the way we bonded was through comic books and talking about that stuff. So. That's what prompted us to do the one. We always do it filled with spoilers. So if you go on YouTube, you can actually see our reviews on some Star Wars stuff and everything. So we do a lot of spoilers. That's how we are. We're going to talk spoilers. So.
Got you.
And at this point, if you haven't watched Black Panther and you're black, your black card will be revoked by Friday afternoon. And if you're white and you've seen, hear me out. If you've seen all other 17 MCU movies, right, and you have not seen Black Panther, you're racist, right? Because even I don't like Doctor Strange and I don't like Ant-Man, but even I seen those movies, all right? So if I went and seen them, you can go see Black Panther if you're white. So.
Okay. And look, Lady Starr joined us. What's up, Starr? How you doing?
I'm great. How y'all doing? I got in right at if you white and you ain't seen it, you racist. All right.
Actually, I want to be clear. If you're white and you've seen all other 17 MCU movies and you haven't seen Black Panther, you're racist. You got to be clear. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well,
that's fair, but that's fair though. Like what would be the other reason?
Exactly. Because look, I don't like Doctor Strange. I don't like Ant-Man, but I watch those. I'm a fan. I watch Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I don't like those 2 heroes. But I watched it anyway because I needed to watch it, right? So if you watch those 17 other movies and you can't watch this one, then I got to question, are you racist?
So are white people really butthurt over this? Like I've been hearing.
Actually, most white folks love it. And okay. Kevin Feige is the guy that oversees all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. He actually said that this is the best directed Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. He said that's the best directed. And all the white bloggers that I follow, all the white podcasters that I follow, they have all said that it's the best Marvel Cinematic Universe. So you probably have some salty white folks, but the clarion call is that it's dope,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
I've heard a little buzz about them being, upset about it, and not, oh well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, leave it to Clem. Oh well. Hashtag oh well.
I mean, Hey.
All right, so Clev, what did you think about the movie? You said to me earlier that this movie has changed, quote unquote, black unquote culture. So what do you mean by that?
Well, the movie has it's permeated the culture in a way that I can't think of anything that has done it to this magnitude in a while. So vibrations are raised. Everybody is on, I love being black. Like you got black people. Yes, like this is happening. I was talking to a friend today and he was like he had a Home Depot exchange with a woman who worked there. Like, they all Wakanda forever and all this. So it's like a little, secret but not secret language and a vibe that everybody is on. And so you have Danny on here right now who is like, as you and he described him, the resident geek. And I'm not that when it comes to this, but I am about the opportunities that we have to move the culture forward based around this and the momentum that is going as a result of this. And I think that's really great because when I went to the movie, when I watched the movie, I actually cried. And I was like, so for real, you like sitting here crying right now? But the representation on the screen, like it hit me really hard. And with over 20 years of working with Black youth and having heard children say, I hate my skin, I hate my hair, I wish I was white, I wish I was lighter, I wish I was this or that, and just being bombarded with that in the best, most regal way had me thinking about, what if this is all we knew? What if this is the way that our culture had just always been and the possibilities? So now it's about the possibilities of moving forward, having seen this. But it actually made me cry. And I was like, wow, we're doing this in the movies. Okay. I feel like I'm losing my G card as I get older. Like stuff just makes me emotional and stuff. So
I just want to jump in real quick and say that it wasn't at the same magnitude as this movie, like promotional wise. But the last time I seen our people as a collective really come together in a movie was when Spike Lee did Malcolm X. Because when Spike Lee did Malcolm X, everybody all of a sudden was reading autobiography of Malcolm X. Everybody all of a sudden was wearing kente cloths. Yeah, everything. I'm not saying it's the same magnitude, but because it's a lot bigger now. A lot more people. We have the internet now, so it's a lot bigger now. But that last time we were all collectively kind of like on one page was when the Malcolm X movie came out.
It was hella big though. That's a good point because I mean, our attire, like everything, everything. I was much younger at that point, but I remember like that was a good time. That was a good time.
Yes, it was.
Consciousness was definitely raised. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It was a good time because we had Do the Right Thing that had came out before then, which kind of I think that started the progress.
The stage, yeah.
And we had the Panther movie came out. What was the movie that talked about Tulsa, Oklahoma, but it wasn't about Tulsa?
Oh, it was one with your boy Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Rosewood.
No, not that one. It had Mario Van Peebles.
Oh, the one about the gunslingers, the cowboys.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of that. That was actually, I remember that. Yeah.
Right. Yep. And then we also had at the tail end of that time period, we had Boys in the Hood, and we had.
But we're talking about like consciousness raising, like Malcolm X, like everybody. Because I remember when Malcolm X came out, everybody was wearing the hats, everybody was wearing kente cloth, everybody was buying. Then you had X Clan. You had Boogie Down Productions. You had all those groups. So it was that whole cultural milieu was part of all that. But I remember everybody going to see Malcolm X in groups. So now we weren't renting out theaters. But we were going as groups, like class trips. Like I remember that, how big that was,
Right.
Yeah, that's true. And like you said, there was a whole paradigm. The whole culture was kind of in that place around that time. So here comes Black Panther without that. Like it just dropped in and it was like, booyah, here we come. So like I said, I'm interested in how we ride this momentum and we get cultural gains as a result, because I've seen a lot of complaints with people, well, we'll spend money on entertainment and we'll do this or, we'll do that, but we won't do that. And I'm like, well, how do we use it in an advantageous way to, like I said, ride this wave and get the most that we can get out of this feeling that's, that the culture is in right now?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question.
Now, that's a good question, but it's
Very
also interesting that whenever we embrace it not only for the good, but we also embrace it for the playful as well. Like, for instance, I saw a post today. Actually, my wife read it to me, and the post said, it's amazing how N-words will go see Black Panther 3 times, but haven't seen their children 3 times in the last month. What Wakanda father is that?
Yeah.
I thought that was.
No, I mean, you're gonna always see memes. The internet is good for that. You're gonna always see memes. But I think Clev posed a good question. I think that's the question we need to focus on. Like, how do we? Because here's a good example, and this is why I love that question. Like, I remember when A Different World, the sitcom, came out.
Okay.
Right. Matter of fact, I'll take it back. I'm gonna take it back even further. I remember when Spike Lee's oh my God, they had Lawrence Fishburne in it. It was about the frats, the fraternities and sororities at HBCU. Was that?
School days.
School days. Like for a lot of people in my hood, that was their introduction to HBCUs. That was introductions to frats and sorors. And I know a lot of people who went to college because of that movie. And then we had A Different World that became a sitcom. And I know more and more people that started seeking out going to HBCUs and becoming political activists, because of that movie. So Caleb asked the right question. How do we, that same momentum with Black Panther, how do we move people to start embracing consciousness, embracing African history, learning, instead of saying, I want to learn how to speak Wakandan, well, how do you speak Swahili? Or how do you speak Yoruba? Or how do you see what I'm saying? Like, how do we move from this point where the feeling is good, we're feeling good, we're all rallying. Now, where do we go to the next step where we start that consciousness raising and really take advantage of that?
I've had this conversation with multiple people, and it always, and Clev, Starr, you're not this person, but it kind of defiles me how the people who are asking me these questions are people who aren't involved in the community. Because so what are y'all gonna do next? Brother, we've been doing stuff for the last 10 years. Here's our plan for the next 5 years. What are you going to do next? And
I can't do what are y'all going to do next, people anyway need to just be muted. Because,
yeah, I agree.
What do you mean, what are y'all going to do next?
Yep.
Like, it's a collective issue. Yep. Unless you're asking me that so that you can assist, then, I mean, they get a next too, like a whatever.
You're right though.
Yeah, mute.
You're right.
Yeah. Well, so you were enamored with the film. I can see that.
Of course.
So, do you think the same way that Clev does that it's really changing the consciousness? Because I don't believe that to the same degree that I think she does.
Okay. No, I agree with Clev 1,000%. It really is. And the best example I could give is like my wife with her patterns that she does, because she's a graphic designer, and her patterns they are African. They are West African patterns. Like when you look at them, you know. And people that are in the know, they know that, right? But now she's having regular people ask her about that after seeing the movie, right? When you saw the royal court in Wakanda, the council wearing their different garb, and now they can recognize that, right? And so this is the opportunity. This is the end, right? Oh, I kind of saw that in that movie. Well, here it is. Another example. That T'Challa, his trainer, Chadwick Boseman's trainer was Maurice Crump, who does capoeira, right? So now people are like, oh shit, that's what you do, bro. And I'm like, yeah, like that's, I've been doing it for years, but I'm here, So that's open. I actually got an interview tomorrow at a place that wants to hire me to teach capoeira. So it's kind of like the opportunities are coming there, and we just have to be, the people like us have to be ready to say, yo, we here, come. The door's open. Come on down, and let's do it. Yeah, so it's kind of like it's all happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, and look, shout out to Hampton. Ruth Carter who did the costume design for Black Panther, is a Hamptonian.
Yes,
You know what I'm
is.
saying? She graduated from Hampton, right? So, so it's like the people out there, and she graduated in 88. I think she graduated in your class.
No, I graduated in 90. She was there 2 years before me, but
she said 88, yeah. So there you go. My bad. I didn't mean to age you.
No,
so,
I had a crush on her.
Oh, okay. So you see that connection? All that connection is there,
But now, here's the interesting thing. In her class, I might be incorrect by 1 year, but I think I'm right. In her class was also Pam Gregory, Dick Gregory's daughter.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, that was a powerful year, man. 88. Wow. Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? Like,
a powerful year, period. Like,
thank you.
Yeah.
So it's all coming together. Like, it's all we hear. So now here's that opportunity for us to do that.
Okay, 88, 98. Okay.
Yeah. So this all that. Ryan Coogler's a Howard alumni. So it's like we can go and make those connections. Well, I'm sorry, Chadwick Boseman is a Howard alumni. So it's just like all those connections. Those people are all there. He's 40. Chadwick Boseman is 40. He's not young. So it's like, all those connections are there. That generation is there, and it's all coming together. So I think we just have to be ready to hold that door open for folks to come in, because there are a lot of people that want to be a part of this. You're gonna have your naysayers. You're gonna have the people that don't do anything. But I've always focused on the people that want to do something. So
now, see, I think that you're right in what you're saying. But I think to say that the consciousness has been raised is wrong. I think the intrigue and the interest has been raised. But, Easter's coming soon. We're going to see how much consciousness people have really developed when they start their spending habits again. I think that...
Well, but Seiko, isn't that the opportunity for us to use this to get ahead of it? Because we know in this movement that it's like a baby steps. It's not gonna come swift, and everybody's just gonna get it really fast. So you just brought up something good, and the question is, so how do we use this in some kind of way to start thinking about these spending habits? Like, so I did this Wakanda Forever 7-day challenge, right? And I'm gonna, like, I put it, you saw it on Facebook, but I'm actually about to have a graphic that is more shareable that people can use. But then there could be multiple challenges. Like, there could be a Wakanda Forever economic challenge, or something like that. If this is where the thought process is and everybody is feeling that, then maybe we need to identify those things in which, like one thing you just said, and how we can infuse this.
I mean, there's actually 2 Google Docs. Shout out to T with Q and J. They talked about it on their podcast. I pulled it up, but I haven't looked at it. 2 people wrote lesson plans on the topics brought up in the movie when it deals with colonialism and slavery and all that stuff. Yeah, colorism. And they actually did a curriculum saying, okay, we talked about this in the movie. So-and-so in the movie said this. This is what colonialism is. And it actually gives you a list of books and sources you can do. And then also the same thing with the other individual. And I think that's dope. Like, that's where you take advantage of it. And I've always tell my students that the best way to serve your people is to stay in your lane. Whatever lane that you're in, that's where you help people. So if you're an educator, then you should use this to educate folks on colonialism, right? Racism, white supremacy. Like, you can really talk about that. So yeah, we can actually do that.
All right. So you said there are lesson plans.
The best thing to do is to go to the T with Q and J website, and in their show notes for their last episode, it should be a link there to the last episode.
You said T and J?
T with Q and J.
Oh, like tea. Okay.
Yeah,
like
tea, which is tea with Q and J. Yeah, tea with Q and J, like drinking tea with Q and J.
Okay, the website. Okay, all right.
Yeah, go to the website, and their latest podcast. You should be able to scroll down to their latest one, the latest episode. You might have to scroll up.
Okay. All right.
And go to show notes right there. Show notes all the way to the right.
Okay.
Yeah. And their last one, they put it in their show notes.
That's what's up. Oh, okay.
There it is. Yep.
Womanist race needs. Oh, nerds of Wakanda.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, we're going to make sure we check that out. So I think we're all saying the same thing. I'm looking at the word intrigue or interest. You're looking at the word conscious raising. But the deal is we need to make sure that we're in a position to pass on some of the resources to make sure that people can act on this interest, this conscious raising, or whatever you want to call it. One of the other things I see happening is a lot of backlash on Kilmonger. And I think one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight was there's a group of people who were using the hashtag Kilmonger was right.
Okay.
And then there's a group of people who are saying if you ride with Kilmonger, you're actually you're actually supporting the abuse of black women.
And you know what? I agree with both sentiments. Number one, when people say Kilmonger, and I know they're not saying this, but when they say Kilmonger was right, there's actually, and I'm talking from a geek perspective, there's actually a hashtag that says Magneto was right, right? And look, I don't have a problem with people liking villains. People love Joker, right? The Joker is a sociopath, right? People love the Joker. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's okay for geek culture. So with the Kilmonger was right, I get it. And coming from a geek, I think that's cool. But with the other argument, I wholeheartedly agree. Just real quick, Ryan Coogler was asked in an interview about Kilmonger, and he said the way he created Kilmonger was deliberate. Kilmonger is counter-revolutionary. Killmonger is a hater of black women. And even if you look outside of how Killmonger was functioning, he is actually anti-everything African because he didn't even respect his ancestors enough to deal with them, right? I mean, if he really cared about his father, he would have did what he had to do to bring him back to Wakanda to bury him, right? So, yes. And here's what you got to remember. When Killmonger went into the museum and Claw killed that dude, you know, he seemed more concerned with why he killed that guy than he did his own girlfriend, you know? And as the movie progressed, you learn more and more that Killmonger was more about vengeance than actually liberating African people around the world.
So I think when people say he's right, they're looking at that at what he was looking to accomplish more so because it's a nuanced character, which made it, or at least the situation which was what made it interesting, and that's why we're able to have this conversation and
exactly
this, debate in different factions about it. So I think when people are saying that, they're strictly talking about the fact that they believe that Wakanda had a responsibility to, black people across the diaspora. I haven't encountered anybody who felt that him being disrespectful to elders, killing his girlfriend or anything like that was like, yeah, that's great. But it was the warring ideologies there that I think people were taking sides with.
Yeah. And here's the part that bothers me. We should be saying Nakia was right.
Oh,
you should be saying Nakia was right, because Nakia in the beginning of the movie, when he came to save her, she was like, "Yo, we need to be helping our people." You know what I'm saying? She said, "We have the resources to help refugees, to promote peace, to do this, to do diplomacy, to do outreach." She said all those things, and T'Challa was like, "Nah, we good." You know what I'm saying? And, so and ultimately at the end of the movie, he did what Nakia said. So really what we should be saying is Nakia was right, because if you listen to her in the beginning, things probably would have been different, right?
So what do you guys think about the fact that reality has shown us with history? So I agree that Wakanda, should not, that they should care about other black people outside of Wakanda. But then there's this reality that is true. When you let other people in, when you start letting them in, your society does decline.
I think that the statement that the Rhino brother made when he said, when you let the refugees in, you let in the refugees' problems. I think that was potent. I think that was really deep.
And let me just throw in some geek stuff. Which is why I love this movie so much. In the comic book, this debate is brought up over and over and over again. Matter of fact, in the 70s, T'Challa was a teacher in Harlem, right? And people threw him in his face all the time. They were like, "Why aren't you helping black people out here?" Luke Cage, Misty Knight, Storm. He married Storm. They all have brought this up to him a lot. And the previous Black Panthers, they all had a policy of isolationism. And T'Challa is the first one to actually move away from that policy of isolationism, right? And in the comic book, T'Challa actually suffered because of that, because there was a lot of factions in Wakanda who didn't like his policy of reaching out to everybody or having a more internationalist policy. And at one point, he lost the throne, and his sister Shuri took over.
Right.
And later on, even the ancestors denied T'Challa.
Yes.
You know, the ancestors were like, you are not a son of mine. You are no longer a child of Wakanda. That actually happened to him. So that debate has always been in the comic books, that they've never helped, black people around the world, and they had the resources, that his isolationist policy was bankrupt. So that's something that's always been in the comics, and I appreciated that they brought it into the movies.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the story behind Black Panther in all its different iterations has always been multi-layered, deep, and has really dealt with a lot of struggle. But I take issue when I see like this gossip article, "You will love Kilmonger at the expense of black women," because Kilmonger in the film killed everybody. He talked about killing Afghanistans and Iranians and other Africans. And, he killed for America. And now he was killing for something he was interested in killing for. He killed people for money. He killed everybody. So to say that he was misogynistic or he hated black women, to me is a bit of a stretch. Now, I realize I'm still growing. So
I mean, I didn't see it that way either, Seiko, and I'm very much a black woman. So
more than I am.
I'm falling more along the line with you. I don't know all the history of the comic book, but if we go by the movie, then I took it the same way that you took
Kilmonger in the comic book was worse. Kilmonger in the comic book was
way
20 times way worse, right? But let me say this. And I don't mean to interrupt you, Clev. When we look at a lot of our revolutionary leaders, I love Huey Newton. Huey Newton is my hero. Huey Newton.
I know where you're going.
Huey Newton mistreated the black women in his life, right? I mean, and I'm saying mistreatment as a lack of a better term. Eldridge Cleaver was a rapist, right?
I mean, and as a black woman, you gotta look past a lot of that.
But hold on. When we say that we are revolutionaries, right? And I don't consider myself a revolutionary, right? But if we say that we are revolutionaries, if we say that we are going to liberate ourselves from the oppressor, we do that with the understanding that all of us are liberated, and I am not going to take the place of the oppressor, right? Now, going back to Magneto, right? The problem with Magneto, remember, he grew up in the concentration camps, right? But there were moments in his career where he was just as bad as Nazis, meaning he killed men, women, and children, right? So what Kilmonger is and Kilmonger even says it in the movie. He says, we're going to kill them, we're going to kill their children, and we're going to kill everybody that supports them, right? So we have to be real careful when we say, if we're going to go armed struggle, let's do armed struggle, but let's not take the place of the oppressor. And there's a really good book by Dr. Bell Hooks called Read Real Cool, and it's about black masculinity. Mm-hmm. And she deconstructs how a lot of our leaders, right, just wanted black supremacy, meaning they wanted just men to be in charge, right? A good example of that would be when we discuss the civil rights movement, right? When we talk about the civil rights movement or the black freedom rights struggle, we talk about black power. most of the time we're discussing black men when most of the ranks of that struggle was black women, right? But black men get all the accolades. Black men get all the, we only talk about them. So we have to be real. So to be, and then look, Ryan Coogler, the director of the film, director and writer of the film, said, yes, that's what Killmonger represents. He said that. So it's not even something that happened by accident. That was a deliberate in the writing, right? That's who Killmonger is. And, you know, again, Killmonger's idea of Armstrong, I think that's a legitimate discussion. We should be, you know, in some cases it has to go down like that, right? But we shouldn't be the oppressor. We shouldn't be committing genocide, right? Because if we're killing men, if we're killing women and children, we're committing genocide. If I'm neglecting the ancestors and trampling on all their stuff, all their traditions, then we might as well just be white people in blackface.
And so I agree with that. And again, I'm saying that I don't think I didn't encounter anybody who liked Killmonger.
Okay.
Like that aspect of him. Mm-hmm. I think people just didn't get in depth enough about the fact it was the ideologies. And I think people were saying the two different factions were saying. And so again, I'm not a comic book person, so I don't know the depths of Killmonger like that. From the movie, I didn't get all of that, what you're saying.
Well, he killed his girlfriend, though. He killed his girlfriend, though.
They will say he killed a lot of people. Like,
no, but hold on. But he killed his girlfriend, though.
But he killed people, period.
No, but hold on. But he killed his girlfriend, though.
Anybody. I didn't feel it was just black women. I felt like this was a rogue guy.
We seen him kill his girlfriend, though.
But he was again, so we just have to agree to disagree on that.
No, I'm just saying that if I know that if I claim to be a revolutionary and I kill and y'all see me kill my girlfriend, I feel you. Like, I understand. I'm not trying to justify him being in special forces, because I kind of feel like he had to go through that training. I kind of feel like he had to go through that. But he killed his girlfriend, though. His girlfriend was on his side. His girlfriend was on his side. His girlfriend was down for him. You know.
And he only killed her. But he killed everyone. He didn't give a damn. She was in the line of fire. Anybody who was in the path of what he was trying to accomplish, I took it as they were going to be, like, he was going to take them out. So I didn't see that as specifically targeting black women. But to speak to what you said in totality, you know, outside of that Killmonger character, as a black woman, I agree with that, because so many of the people that we put up as heroes, it's like women have to put aside a bunch that they've done. Even as a lover of hip hop music throughout my life, you know, so I'm very familiar with the territory that you're talking about, but specifically with Killmonger, I just felt like that dude was like, anybody who is in the way of what I'm trying to get accomplished, you can get it. So you can be a black woman, a black man, you know, black child, a white, whatever, like anybody in his path was going to get it. And that's how I took that. And that was the aspect of him, like a misguided, a person with a lot of hurt and anger who is trying, like, he wouldn't have been able to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish anyway, because he did not have a plan, a cool head, any kind of rationality. He was moving off of emotion, and he had an agenda. But I just didn't see training. Black women specific.
He was moving off of training because he did what every deconstructor that's been trained by the government, he did exactly what deconstructors. He went there, he destroyed the resources, he took over, he destroyed the resources, then he released, you know, the resources, the weapons. So he destroyed the resources, he started his agenda. And if it wasn't for T'Challa coming back, then he would have continued with his agenda.
I'm gonna disagree with that on a fictional level, but go ahead.
Okay.
Because here you go. Here's another fictional character. Here's another fictional character that worked for the U.S. government. Chuck Freeman.
Okay, you got me, Tim. You got me, bro.
The spook who sat by the door.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right? Come on, man.
Okay. We don't fully agree with
Let's go then.
I don't fully agree with him. Like, I'm not saying that. The only thing I'm saying is I didn't see his issues to be Black woman specific. I feel like he had issues with everybody that was in the way of what he wanted to accomplish. That's all I'm saying. I don't agree with all.
So when he slit Shorty's throat, he was smiling.
He what?
He was smiling when he slit Shorty's throat.
No, oh my gosh. You are.
Go back and see that. Go back and see that scene where that Dora Milaje that said Wakanda forever, and he slit her throat. He's smiling like Kool-Aid smile,
but
like Kool-Aid smile. Go back and see it, man. Go back and see it, yo.
How we feel if he was killing men or other people that he didn't get pleasure out of. I think he's demented in a way. So I don't know. We could
I see somebody moving the goalpost, but yeah, I guess. I guess. I mean, you know.
Right. Hey, look.
You know,
we have 4 minutes left on my free Zoom. I'm using the Zoom platform, so we have 4 minutes left. So we talked about where do we go from here. We talked about was Kilmonger a misogynist, and we talked about how much we love the film. What's the last words you want to leave our listeners with? And I'll let you go first, Danny.
Okay. Definitely pick up Roxane Gay's. She did a series called World of Wakanda, and it deals with Dora Milaje specifically, and it's a wonderful, wonderful story. Marvel canceled it, so you get it on trade paperback. Please pick up the latest issue of Black Panther #1, which comes out next week, written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And it's going to talk about how Wakanda actually has a planet called Bast. So
yes.
Do that. Mm-hmm.
Starr.
And so I'm dropping the Wakanda Forever 7-Day Challenge, and it's some things that we can do as a result of this movie, and just putting it a part of our daily lives. Like if we're all hype about, I've seen all these posts, I'm so proud of being Black, and I feel great to be Black. So it's some basic things that I think our culture could look at, and it's a simple challenge, but I think it's things that get overlooked a lot. And even some of the things in the challenge deal with how Black men and women are going to interact with one another. So take the challenge. When I drop that, you can find it on my Facebook and Instagram page, Starr Armstrong on Facebook, Starr__Armstrong on Instagram. And also just keep thinking of creative, innovative ways that we ride this movie, like get ahead of it. And like you said about Easter coming up. So now the thought process is, if we're talking about economics, how do we tie this movement into that, a way that it translates for the things that need to happen? We have a phenomenal thing going on right here, and just take this energy and use it for constructive ways to move our culture forward. Use that Kumba, because I'm always like Kwanzaa 365, not just in December. So get those principles out right now. And Yes.
All right. Well, you know what? I don't have anything to say because you guys have said everything I wanted to say. I'm so glad that I got the chance to see this movie, and I cried as well. I cried because I felt my father looking down and saying,
"Oh man, brother,"
And when he said, T'Chaka said, "A man who hasn't prepared his children, for his death, isn't really a good father," or whatever term he said.
He said it. Yep. I thought about your dad too, man. When he said that, I thought about your dad.
Yeah. So that made me, because my father sat me down and said, "These are the things you need to do with the family when I'm gone," and so that just really kind of touched me. And it was also kind of interesting that, did you notice that the elder, there was an elder sister, she was a queen or a king in one of the tribes or one of the ethnic groups. She had a Coptic cross on.
Yep, the one from the merchant tribe, yeah.
Right.
The one from the merchant tribe, yep.
What's blowing me away, because I have a lot of my fellow Christians who are tripping because, the Bast goddess in Black Panther, and they felt like there was no representation. So we got the LGBTQIA who were upset because there wasn't representation. And then I've had a couple of the Christians who were saying, well, they didn't represent us. And I was like, you didn't see it? it was right there. She had it on her chest all the time. So I think that a lot of us need to go back and look at the movie again because it's so deep and it's so multi-layered. There's a lot that we missed.
It's a lot. Yep.
It's a lot. I just can't wait to see Shuri become king.
Okay. All right. And there's actually a comic book for that. Of the Jonathan Mayberry. She is the queen of Wakanda. Yep. There is. Yep. And there's another series called Claws of the Panther. Yep.
And I was really interested at the very end, after the second credit thing, when they showed T'Challa's big brother. And I had told my son, I was like, look, T'Challa has a big brother. He's a white guy. He was adopted. He's like,
no, actually, the end credits, that's the Winter Soldier.
Okay, so
Captain America, that's the Winter Soldier. Because remember, at the end of the Civil War, they took him to Wakanda to cure him. That's why Shuri said. That's what she said. You brought me the broken white boy. Yeah, the fix. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
that's Winter Soldier.
What was T'Challa's older brother, who was the white guy that T'Challa?
He had an older brother that his father adopted, who his father made in charge of the war dogs, and they called him White Wolf.
White Wolf.
Yeah.
White Wolf. So
they called him White Wolf. Yep.
Yeah, but I was just geeking out. So, hey, look, Dan Trez and Starr, it was good to have you on the call tonight on the Fly Guy podcast. We said some dope stuff, and we got to keep this moving. Wakanda forever.
All right, peace. Yeah.
All right, peace, y'all.
Peace.